Good morning, Crystal Palace, and welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Lunch. I am Galina.Rin. I am streaming live and direct to you from the Upper Norwood Library Hub itself. I am in our live streaming studio where we also do recording, or anything audio, anything visual, all the digitals, We do it all in house now. So if you've got something you want done, you want recorded, you want filmed, you want live streamed, you want some assets for cartoons or whatever, then we can do it all. We can do something for you. And our rates are very fair. Oh yeah, I am like the best advert for anything. Fair rates, fair rates. If you're out there in internet land, do hit us a like a follow or a comment because it helps push the show out to other folks. And the more eyeballs, the better because it helps with funding. We can say, oh, we have these many eyeballs this month. Amazing. Our last eyeball count for last month was 29,000 people. How about that? That's a lot of eyeballs. In fact, it's probably double that because that would count as one view when there's actually two eyeballs per view, mostly, and maybe not. I don't know where I'm going. I mean, let's just bail out of that sentence right now. Let's welcome Ollie to the show. Hello, Ollie. How you doing?
Hi, Rin. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I'm very good today.
Okay, good. And tell the folks who you are and what it is that you do.
So yeah, I'm Oli Isaac. And I am an artist working with theatre and poetry, based in London, in South London. I've been based here for the last like 10 years or so. Grew up in Dublin, and yeah, I work with a part of a performance duo called Clumsy Bodies, which we create work around trans narratives. And yeah, I like to mess around with multimedia. And most recently, last week, I got to show an excerpt of my first like solo piece I've written, French for Bread, at the crew sharing.
Cool, cool. We're obviously going to go into a lot of the crew stuff in a minute, but can you tell us more about Clumsy Bodies? Because I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Clumsy Bodies like is a trans and disabled art duo with me, Ollie, and my partner Jess. And we like to sort of mess around with it's a theater mostly. We do theater mostly, and it's like to mess around with like how you like share trans narratives on stage. Most recently, we've been working on a project called Clumsy Body Doubles, which is about how it's a comedy horror about it's a trans comedy horror, which is a very niche genre. Um, and it's about our lives being taken over by our cisgendered doppelgangers, um,
Hmm.
and how we fight over that. Um, and so that's been going for the last 3 or 4 years. We've done a few other shows, and yeah,
And have you been able to take those shows to theaters and things like that?
yeah. So we have done a few shows with. Last year, we got the Raise Up Commission as part of the Raise Collective, and that show was Anatomy of a Panic, which sort of detailed the moral panic around the think of the children fear around trans people. And we got to tour that with the Raise Collective from to Oxford, Manchester, Cambridge, and we ended it at Oval House in London. Also, we've done shows at Vault Festival, at uh, where else we done? So it's an Oval House, Actor Studio, um, and yeah, we are now next year going to be part of Canon People's Theatre's starting blocks. So that's very exciting, and We also have some residencies next year with Feeder Deli, and we are moving forward, starting to get relationships with feeders. It's been a few years in the works, but yeah, it's really exciting.
Amazing. Amazing. It feels like that is a massive project on its own. So and then you've done this crew project as well. Do you want to talk about the crew aspect a little bit before we go into your actual piece?
Yeah. So Crew came about, and it was one of the first times I've had like being accepted onto Crew, was like being given the confidence to sort of pursue my solo like playwriting like career, because I've done a lot of like devising theater, um and like making stuff up in the room itself. So to actually be accepted and to be like, we like your idea, with Crew, was a really exciting like prospect. So Crew was a weekly program of just like, over the last 2-3 months, of just like chatting with other emerging playwrights, as much as that praise is used all the time, emerging, and sort of developing my idea from a little baby and nurturing it through the last few months has just been a really, really nice and just exciting way to develop my idea. We've done like writing exercises, we've done like sharings of small drafts we've done, and just it was just a really nice way to do it online, because we couldn't meet up in person, and just a way to keep up that discipline and just community, that was sort of like lost, um, because of the pandemic.
Yeah, well, that's good. There was a lot of. I was actually shocked how many Irish people were in the entire group. There were a lot. There were quite a few. Overpopulated. Perhaps that's the wrong thing to say. It's the wrong thing to say. I should say that. There was a lot more than I thought there would have been. So obviously, Croydon area and surrounding has a large Irish contingent just hanging out. It's hanging out. Do you want to talk about your piece in itself? Tell us what it was that you did.
Yeah, so my piece was called French for Bread, and it follows, it looks at these two teenage girls and how they navigate intimacy within a chronic pain clinic. The scene that I submitted for the performance last week was like the first scene of the of my full length play, of what I hope to be my full length play, and it was about Talia, who's the main character in my play, and her admission into this clinic that is quite controversial and unorthodox in its treatment. It like applies pain so much that it becomes background noise. And it's been an idea I've like wanted to develop for at least like 1 or 2 years. And it was just like setting up like the environment it would take place in, and the characters and the relationships they would have, which a crew sort of helped me develop. Um, it actually came about first from like listening to a podcast, and about these chronic pain clinics that have more unorthodox treatments, and delving into like vlogs and forums around it. And to me, there was something really interesting, um, about pain, and about how you treat it, and the belief in it, and how you measure it, and how society views certain people's pain, um, particularly women of color. And there was something intimate about pain itself, and sort of going into this community around chronic pain, it was sort of talking about how you control pain and how you who does the pain. I've said pain quite a lot,
Mhm.
but it was just exploring something really interesting and intimate in a really like compassionate way that got me interested in this idea of like how do you treat pain when you can't visibly see it, or how who believes when you're in pain, and sort of it follows this relationship between these two patients in the clinic, Talia and Yara, and how they sort of, aside from the like institutional way of treating pain, they like care for each other in this medical environment.
That's cool. I'm just thinking, is it like when you're talking about pe- when people have chronic pain that they can't see, is there a kind of an idea that it could be psychosomatic rather than physical, and then it's a barrier along those lines? I mean, is that what people have to deal with?
Yeah, yeah. And part of the scene I put forward is about sort of Talia's weariness in front of doctors, in front of like of not being believed um about her pain. And it's quite often like psychosomatically treated as a psychosomatic um syndrome. And but also, so there's like different ways of going about it. There's like the medical route with painkillers, there's psychological route with like whether the doctors believe in your pain or not, or like believe that there's like what sources of the pain. And sort of what I want to explore in this is like not, is sort of Talia doesn't know where the pain has come from, and but it's sort of how you treat it and how you sort of go about managing it in a way that you can move forward in life. And um, part of what I found really interesting was like the subset within chronic pain community who sort of deal with it within a BDSM
Mm.
um, way, and how you sort of like take control of pain yourself, and like trust others with it. So it's just, yeah, it's about belief and um, yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of deep subjects involved
yes.
in that. Yes. So you have a unique perspective compared to all the other artists that we've had on, all the other writers we've had on, is that you're the only one who come on after the fact. After the fact. So the show was live streamed on Friday night. The links for that are in the description. I'm just going to repost them now. But how did you find? Well, let's start with the live stream. I mean, you got to watch your own show, which other folks we've interviewed did not. So, what did you think of that?
Oh, it was I was so nervous going into it. I'd like plugged my laptop into like the TV screen we have, like HDMI cable, so I could like watch it on a bigger screen. And it was this really nerve-wracking, but then when it happened, really exciting. And like just to hear other people say words that I'd written was like a really new experience, and a really like just like first like quite strange experience to hear people like when I'm not in the room like say things that I'd written.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really like validating experience. And then it was just amazing to see all the work that all the other people's work from crew, and how seeing it develop um from when they first were asked by Jennifer, our tutor, to like give like a 1 sentence pitch for their idea, to see it go from there to like to see it go into like this 6 minute like extract was just like a really amazing. It was just amazing how much they developed and um the different directions people took, and like it was just really exciting because no two pieces were the same, and everyone was just very each other's like cheerleaders. Even when the show was going on, the WhatsApp was going off, and it was like it was just a very nice experience. It wasn't like what I feared, like being watching my show in lockdown, like being alone. It was like a very like communal, very like active experience, which was just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. There was also a thing that changed quite a lot, and yours is specifically one of them. Is that when it you had an idea of what you want, you took. So I was the production manager for the tech on this, right? So the ideas that you gave me then had evolved when we actually got to filming it, to the point where we'd changed backgrounds a couple of times and all of that between you and I. And then when we got to the actual show, the practicalities of the filming changed it again, which is not, which is something I had not thought about myself really. And yours and another one got it was like parts got removed at filming, but that almost added that did add to it. The fact that your character is on a plain black background and is quite small compared to the large dark things and the large photos that come at her, basically. Allow just allow for that isolation of a person in that situation, and that's not something that I had seen coming until it happened. Kind of affair.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was really cool in terms of how much like this online space, it wasn't like a compromise on it being in this live, on it being like in front of a live audience. It was like done in a way that like benefited the overall idea, and seeing like it develop from, Ali said, we changed backgrounds and we changed the way it's done, and seeing it the way it was like filmed and performed amazingly, and all of that, it was a really interesting way because I sort of wanted to be quite a surreal and like isolating experience for Talia to begin with, and to have like the doctor being a voiceover or like out of shot, and all of this thing was sort of developed and evolved, discussing with you, discussing with Jennifer, and it was just a really exciting way to like not to have like this online performance or online viewing, like not compromise like the vision or like the piece itself, but instead like be used to like amplify it and like enhance it. It was just a really exciting way, like seeing who played Talia, like being like this quite small and like daunting like teenager in this like weird abyss of black. Um, it was just a really cool way of representing like the medical interview that they're going under.
Yeah. So now that the crew is finished, how did you find the community that you built with the other writers? Because that seems a very strong bond you've all got there.
Yeah, no, it's been an amazing journey throughout the last few weeks, the last months, and sort of keeping each other like cheerleading each other's ideas and being very constructive and being very helpful with like feedback. And when we're all like under lockdown or under different tiers and so on, um, it's been a really like emotional and like quite validating journey. And the WhatsApp is still active, and there's plans to like keep this sort of community going forward, whether it's like self-led by us or by Stanley Hall or someone else, and like how we can keep that sort of like whether it's still weekly or like a monthly session that we all like get together and discuss and share our ideas and share where they're going. Because what we submitted was only like a 6 minute like sharing. So obviously we're all going to be developing ideas more and how we can keep that sort of community and support. And we're all going to go to each other's shows um going forward, and even during the actual program we'd go to each other's like poetry readings or so on. And yeah, it's just a really nice bond of people and really like different like practices and like coming from different backgrounds, whether it's like, you know, drag or performance or like writing or like, yeah, it's just been really interesting way of like melding these different voices in a room and how well we've got on, even though we've not actually like personally met each other yet. Yeah.
That's again very cool. The whole program's just coolness from start to finish, really. If folks wanted to get in contact with you for any reason, where's the best place to find you?
I am personally at Oli Isaac underscore on Instagram or Twitter, but also Clumsy Bodies at Clumsy Bodies on Instagram or Twitter, on Facebook as well. We'll have a Facebook. Well, we'll have a website coming next year as well. So clumsybodies.com. And yeah, you can get in touch with us there. We've got some really exciting projects coming up. So yeah,
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Ollie. That was awesome.
thank you.
I'm just going to go over a few little notices for you. Basically, from here on in, it's all Santa, reindeer, Zoom, socially distance, Christmas songs, and all the rest over at the uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org. We have real life reindeers all every weekend in December. We have socially distant Santa. We have Santa on Zoom. In fact, any way you want to have Santa, you can have him. Okay, maybe not every way, but all the child friendly ways. You can certainly hang out with Santa which way you like. And it's all over on the uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org website. We're also going to have a West End musical. Folks are back with us doing a Christmas, Crystal Palace Christmas. That'll be on 13th of December at 6 o'clock here on our live streaming channels. And then on the 21st of December, we're having a sing along, a sing-a-thon, where all the local choirs of Southeast London have come together to put on some videos for you. It's going to have a host. It's going to be a whole evening of just beautiful songs sung by locals during lockdown and recorded at home, in their bedrooms, wherever. But it's been edited together, so it does sound very good. Very good indeed. And that'll be on the 21st of December. It's all Christmas right in front of you. We also have a play coming from the week of the 16th of December to the 20th of December, which is Oh No, It Isn't. It is an alternative pantomime. It is not for children. And it is being done by JLA Productions. So there'll be more information on that production very, very soon. All of these events will have a live element, apart from the singing one. Where tickets are on sale, they're limited. Obviously, that all may change because we have no idea what kind of tier, we're all going to be into at that point. So just keep an eye out on our website, uppernorwoodlibraryhub.org, and you'll know as much as I know. In fact, you'll probably know more because you will have read the information other than me skimming it just so I can regurgitate it out to you guys. Anyway, thank you very much, Ollie, for joining us again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And we shall be back with you tomorrow with a lovely fella who's going to tell us about a live stream play that's going on here on Friday. And I'll leave that, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye bye, bye bye.